The enormous vessels of the Galactic Concorde darkened Earth's skies as they positioned themselves in low orbit. On the flagship, Admiral Tak studied the holographic display of the planet with mild amusement. "This is their entire defense network," he asked, gesturing at the scattered dots representing Earth's military installations. Commander Jiwan nodded. "Yes, Admiral. Their technology is centuries behind ours. They call it their Global Defense Initiative. Our analysts have nicknamed it the Tiny Army." Tak's mouth curled into what passed for a smile among the Vex species. "Prepare the diplomatic envoy. Let's at least give them the courtesy of surrender terms before annexation." Down on Earth, Colonel Han Sunwoo reviewed the satellite imagery with growing concern. The alien armada dwarfed anything humanity had ever constructed. "We need to buy time," she told the assembled Joint Chiefs. "While they're talking diplomacy, I want a special operations team ready to gather intelligence." Later that night, as the Concorde representatives dismissed Earth's diplomatic efforts with condescending offers of protection, Captain Kim Do-yeon and his team of 5 operatives slipped past the alien perimeter using experimental stealth technology. "Remember," Kim whispered to his team, "we're not here to engage. Just gather intel and return." None of them realized they were about to change the course of galactic history. The Concorde had conquered over 200 worlds across the galaxy. They were used to species that either fought in traditional ways or surrendered immediately. Humans would do neither. Kim's team moved silently through the alien landing zone. They wore the newest stealth suits, designed to bend light and mask heat signatures. The aliens were tall, with 4 arms and skin that shimmered like metal. "Look at their weapons," whispered Sergeant Minnow, pointing to the rifles the aliens carried. Each was nearly the size of a human. "Those ships are the real problem," Kim replied, taking photos with his special camera. "One could destroy a whole city." They watched as the aliens set up a base with amazing speed. Machines emerged from their ships and built structures in minutes. The team recorded everything. Suddenly, an alarm sounded. Red lights flashed across the alien camp. "We've been spotted," hissed Corporal Chuno. Kim checked his equipment. "No, it's something else. Keep recording." A large door opened in the main ship. Out walked 3 aliens wearing elaborate armor. They were escorting what looked like prisoners. Aliens of a different species. These captives were small, with blue skin and large eyes. "They're not just here for us," Kim realized. "They're using Earth as a processing station for other conquered worlds." The team watched as the blue aliens were herded into a building. From their sad movements, they seemed to have given up all hope. "Sir," whispered Lieutenant Hyun, "I think I can access their computer system from here." He pointed to a small terminal at the edge of the camp. Kim hesitated. Their orders were clear: gather information and leave without being detected. But this opportunity was too good to miss. "Do it," he ordered. 5 minutes. No more. Hyun crept toward the terminal while the others provided cover. He connected his device and began downloading data. The seconds ticked by slowly. "Hurry," Kim urged quietly. Just as Hyun finished, a patrol rounded the corner. 2 tall aliens with scanning equipment walked directly toward him. Kim made a quick decision. He activated a small device and threw it into the camp's power generator. The explosion wasn't large, but it caused a massive power surge. All the lights in the camp went out. In the confusion, Hyun ran back to the team. "Move out," Kim ordered. "Back to base." They ran through the darkness, using their night vision to navigate. Behind them, they could hear the aliens shouting orders, their powerful spotlights beginning to search the area. 3 hours later, they reached the underground military base where Colonel Sunwoo waited. "Report, Captain," she said as they arrived, exhausted but triumphant. Kim handed over the collected data. "It's worse than we thought, Colonel. Earth isn't their only target. They've conquered many worlds and enslaved their populations." Sunwoo reviewed the files with growing concern. "This changes everything. We're not just fighting for ourselves. The information they'd gathered revealed the Concorde's weaknesses, their overconfidence, their fixed battle patterns, their reliance on overwhelming force rather than strategy. They think size is everything, Kim said. They've never faced humans before. Colonel Sunwoo smiled for the first time since the aliens arrived. Then let's show them what our tiny army can really do. As dawn broke, Earth's military leaders gathered to plan their response. The aliens still thought victory would be easy. They had no idea that during the night, humanity had already struck its first blow. Begin the ceremonial first strike, Admiral Tak ordered. Target their largest military installation. Once they see our capabilities, they'll surrender immediately. The Concorde's energy weapons lanced down from orbit, expecting to obliterate the human base. Instead, they hit empty buildings, decoys constructed over the past 72 hours. Sir, Commander Juwan reported with confusion. Human forces are deploying from underground bunkers. They're engaging our ground troops. What followed stunned the Concorde military leadership. Smaller, more agile human units struck with precision, withdrawing before counterattacks could be mounted. They employed strange tactics, fighting at night, using the terrain, and demonstrating physical capabilities that defied Concorde understanding. How can they run for so long without rest? Demanded Science Officer Park. Their endurance exceeds all our models. The situation deteriorated further when an emergency transmission reached the flagship. Base 7 compromised. Humans have captured one of our scout ships. There. The transmission cut off abruptly. On Earth, nations that had been enemies for centuries united against the common threat. Colonel Sunwoo now commanded the Integrated Special Forces Division, while Captain Kim's team worked with engineers to understand the captured alien technology. They thought we'd be easy prey, Kim told his team as they examined alien weaponry. They don't understand what humans do when backed into a corner. The brilliant flash of alien weapons lit up the night sky. Admiral Tak watched from his command chair, expecting to witness the end of human resistance. He had seen this scene play out dozens of times on other worlds. Confirmation of target destruction, he asked, already planning his victory speech. There was an awkward silence on the bridge. Commander Juwan reviewed the sensor data with growing alarm. Admiral, the base appears to have been empty, she said. The structures were hollow. Decoys. Tak's victory smile faded. Impossible. Check again. Before Juwan could respond, urgent transmissions flooded in from ground forces. Human soldiers were appearing from hidden underground facilities, attacking in small groups of 10 to 15 fighters. They're everywhere, reported Ground Commander Yunno. They strike and disappear. We can't track them. Tak watched the tactical display with disbelief as red warning indicators multiplied across the battlefield. The humans weren't fighting according to any military doctrine the Concorde had encountered. They didn't mass their forces for direct confrontation. Instead, they attacked in small units, targeting weak points and communication systems. They're adapting to our weapons, Science Officer Park noted with growing concern. See how they're already using different tactics against our heavy units versus our light infantry. In one sector, human soldiers engaged Concorde troops, then retreated into a forest. When the aliens followed, they found trip wires, pitfalls, and ambushes. In another area, humans used the cover of darkness to approach silently, knowing the Concorde soldiers relied heavily on technology rather than natural senses. How are they functioning without rest? Park asked, reviewing the battle data. Some of these human units have been active for over 30 hours straight. Their biology shouldn't allow this. Admiral Tak was about to order reinforcements when the worst news arrived. Base 7 reports they're under attack. Humans have breached the perimeter. The communication officer paused. They've gone silent. Admiral, get them back, Tak demanded. Impossible, sir. Something is jamming all communications in that sector. For the first time in his long military career, Admiral Tak felt a twinge of genuine concern. These humans were not behaving like a species facing extinction. On Earth, the mood was cautiously optimistic. In an underground command center, Colonel Sunwoo coordinated the global resistance effort. Former enemies, military officers from countries that had pointed weapons at each other for generations, now worked side by side. The Chinese teams report successful disruption of alien communications in Sector 4, reported General Li. Russian special forces have destroyed 3 alien supply depots, added General Sokolov. Sunwoo nodded. And Captain Kim's operation. A communications officer looked up from her station. Success, Colonel. They've captured an alien scout ship intact. In a hidden hangar 200 kilometers away, Captain Kim and his team examined their prize. The alien vessel was sleek and powerful, its technology far beyond anything humans had developed. Be careful, Kim warned as engineers began examining the ship's systems. We don't know what security measures they might have. A young engineer named Jin approached with excitement. Captain, the propulsion system uses principles we've theorized but never implemented. With this as a guide, we could adapt our own technology in weeks, not decades. Kim nodded, running his hand along the alien metal. They came here thinking we were primitive. Easy targets. He looked at his team, men and women who had trained for years to defend Earth against unknown threats. They don't understand humans. When we're backed into a corner, that's when we're most dangerous. Outside, the night sky flashed with the light of battle. For the first time since the invasion began, the alien forces were in retreat. Science Officer Park paced nervously before the Concord High Command. You don't understand what we're dealing with, she insisted. These humans, they're physiologically unique. Their problem-solving capabilities under stress exceed anything in our records. Admiral Tak dismissed her concerns. They're just primitive bipeds with primitive weapons. Sir, they've already adapted portions of our technology, Park countered. The ship they captured. They've reverse-engineered its propulsion system in just 2 weeks. That should be impossible. On Earth, humanity's unified forces had adopted a name with defiant pride. The tiny army. Led by Colonel Sunwoo's strategic brilliance and bolstered by Captain Kim's special forces, they had repelled 3 major Concord offensives. During the most recent battle, human forces had deployed modified alien weapons combined with Earth tactics. The results had been devastating. The Concord lost an entire division before they could retreat. In the captured alien vessel, now renamed Opportunity, Captain Kim and his team prepared for humanity's boldest move yet. The Concord doesn't understand us, Kim told his pilots. They think in terms of overwhelming force. We think in terms of impossible odds, and overcoming them anyway. Across the Concord fleet, stories spread of the unpredictable humans, a species that seemed to thrive on adversity rather than surrender to it. Science Officer Park stood before the Concord High Command with data displays floating around her. The 7 alien leaders watched with different expressions, some curious, some dismissive, all concerned. Look at these brain scans, Park said, pointing to colorful images. Human brains create new neural pathways at 5 times the rate of any known species when under threat. They don't freeze or panic. They innovate. Admiral Tak waved a dismissive hand. Every new species seems special until we conquer them. These humans will be no different. With respect, Admiral, Park continued, they are different. Their bodies produce chemicals under stress that actually enhance their performance. What would kill most species makes them stronger, at least temporarily. She switched to video footage, showing human soldiers carrying wounded comrades for kilometers without rest. Another clip showed humans working without sleep for 3 days straight during a crisis. And most concerning, Park said, her voice growing urgent, is their technological adaptation rate. She displayed a timeline. It took the Xindi species 40 years to understand our propulsion systems after capturing a ship. The humans did it in 14 days. Sub-Commander Bomi leaned forward. That's not possible. I verified it myself, Park replied. They've already built prototype engines based on our designs. They're learning at an unprecedented rate. Admiral Tak slammed his fist on the table. Enough. They're simply lucky primitives. Prepare the 3rd Offensive Division. We'll crush this tiny army once and for all. Meanwhile on Earth, humanity had transformed in ways no one could have predicted before the invasion. Ancient enemies now fought side by side. The captured alien ship had provided technology that changed everything. In a hidden facility beneath the mountains, Colonel Sunwoo stood before a wall of screens showing global battle information. Beside her, representatives from 20 nations coordinated the defense of Earth. The tiny army, she said with a smile. The name had spread worldwide, first as an insult from the aliens, now as a badge of honor. A young lieutenant approached. Colonel, Captain Kim reports Opportunity is ready for its first mission. Sun Woo nodded. Tell him he has green light. In a vast underground hangar, Captain Kim addressed the 12 pilots chosen for the mission. Behind them stood the alien ship, now modified with human innovations. Its sleek silver hull now bore Earth's new unified symbol, a small blue planet with a shield. They think size determines victory, Kim told his team. That's why they call us the Tiny Army. But throughout human history, it's never been about size. The Spartans at Thermopylae, the Finnish against the Russians, Vietnamese farmers against superpowers. He pointed to the ship. Opportunity gives us exactly that. An opportunity to show the Concorde what humans can do. The plan was bold to the point of insanity. Captain Kim and his team would fly the modified alien ship directly into the heart of the Concorde fleet, using their own IFF signals to avoid detection. Then they would deploy a new weapon developed by combining human ingenuity with alien technology, a system that could temporarily disable the Concorde's neural networks. As they prepared for launch, Engineer Jin approached Kim with concern. The power coupling is still experimental. If it fails, Kim nodded. Then we improvise. That's what humans do. Across the Concorde fleet, rumors spread about the humans. Soldiers shared stories of battles where human fighters appeared from nowhere, struck devastating blows, and vanished. Medical staff whispered about captured humans who had survived wounds that would kill any other species. They don't surrender, one alien soldier told another. Even when they should. I heard they sleep with one eye open. Another said, always ready to fight. Admiral Tak dismissed these stories as superstition. But as he prepared his 3rd major offensive against Earth, even he couldn't ignore the unease spreading through his command. He didn't know that Captain Kim's ship was already rising through Earth's atmosphere, carrying with it humanity's greatest hope, and the Concorde's worst nightmare. A tiny force about to prove that sometimes the smallest army could be the most dangerous. 3 more member species have requested private communications with the humans, reported Commander Juan reluctantly. Admiral Tak slammed his appendage against the console. Traitors. The Concorde has stood for 10 millennia. They see the pattern, sir, Juan said quietly. We've lost 17 engagements in a row to the tiny army. The Lyric and Vanthi delegates are questioning our leadership. On Earth, Colonel Sunwoo received the encoded transmissions with interest. They're fracturing, she told the Earth Defense Council. Now is the time to strike, not just with weapons, but with diplomacy. Meanwhile, Captain Kim led a daring mission into the heart of the Concorde fleet. Using the captured technology and the cover provided by sympathetic alien factions, his team infiltrated the command carrier. Plant the devices exactly as planned, Kim instructed. We don't need to destroy them, just show them we could have. The next day, Admiral Tak found himself staring at evidence that human operatives had penetrated his most secure vessel, planted disabling devices on critical systems, and left without being detected. Attached was his simple message, next time they activate, let's talk. The decisive battle came 3 days later when the hardliners in the Concorde attempted one final massive assault on Earth. They found themselves caught in an elaborate trap of misinformation, electronic countermeasures, and precision strikes. The tiny army, despite being outnumbered and outgunned, demonstrated tactical superiority that shattered the Concorde's offensive capability. Commander Juan entered Admiral Tak's private chamber with great caution. The Admiral had broken 3 communication screens in the past week alone. "More bad news, sir," she said, keeping her distance. "The Lyric, Vanthi, and now the Galzi have all opened secret channels with the humans." Admiral Tak's skin darkened with rage. "After 10,000 years of Concorde unity, they betray us for these soft-skinned primitives. The tiny army has defeated us 17 times now," Juan said softly. "Our losses grow worse each time. The other species see this. They fear weakness," growled Tak. "Then we will show ultimate strength. Prepare all remaining ships for a final attack. We will burn their cities to ash." On Earth, Colonel Sunwoo sat in the war room studying the encrypted messages from the alien species. Her aides watched nervously as she read. "This changes everything," she said finally. "The Concorde is not as united as they want us to believe. The Lyric and Vanthi hate the leadership. The Galzi joined only because they were conquered." "Can we trust them?" asked General Lee. "No," Sunwoo replied, "but we can use them. They've provided security codes and patrol schedules for the Concorde flagship." She turned to her communication officer. "Contact Captain Kim." His mission just became possible. Far above Earth, the massive Concorde fleet hung like metal stars. Captain Kim and his team of 6 Special Forces soldiers approached in their captured ship, now modified with stealth technology. "Transmitting Lyric security codes now," said Lieutenant Hyun from the control panel. "If these are fake, we'll be dead in seconds." The codes worked. The huge hangar doors of the flagship opened, allowing their small ship to land among dozens of alien vessels. "Disguises on," ordered Kim. The team activated their holographic projectors, making them appear as Vanthi maintenance workers. According to their new allies, Vanthi were rarely questioned or even noticed by the dominant species. They moved through the massive ship, placing small devices on critical systems. These were not bombs, but sophisticated disciplers that could shut down any system they touched. "Remember," Kim told his team, "we're not here to start a war. We're here to end one." The most dangerous moment came when they reached the Central Command Core. 2 guards stood at the entrance. The team's fake identities wouldn't get them through. "Watch and learn," whispered Sergeant Minnow. He approached the guards and began speaking in the Vanthi language, gesturing wildly about a malfunction. The confused guards turned to each other, and in that moment of distraction, Corporal Junot fired 2 darts. The guards slumped silently to the floor. 30 seconds until they're missed," said Kim. "Move." They placed the final device directly on the ship's main power coupling. Then they left a small data crystal with a message before retreating the way they came. The next morning, Admiral Tak stared in disbelief at the security footage. Somehow, humans had walked onto his ship, planted devices that could disable every major system, and left without being caught. The message on the data crystal was simple. "Next time, they activate. Let's talk." "Impossible," he whispered. Commander Juan looked equally shocked. "The devices are genuine, sir. They could have destroyed the entire fleet." "Why didn't they?" Tak demanded. "I don't know," Juan admitted. "But the message is clear." Tak crushed the data crystal in his hand. "Prepare all ships. We attack tomorrow with everything we have. These humans must be eliminated." 3 days later, the largest alien force ever assembled approached Earth. Over 2,000 ships, carrying enough firepower to reduce the planet to ash. But the tiny army was ready. As the Concorde forces entered Earth's atmosphere, they found their targeting systems showing phantom readings, their communications filled with false orders. And waiting for them were Earth's defenders, using modified alien technology combined with human ingenuity. The battle that followed would be studied for centuries. The Concord forces, confused and increasingly desperate, found themselves attacking empty spaces, while the real human forces struck from unexpected directions. Ships that should have been easy targets vanished and reappeared elsewhere. Colonel Sunwoo directed the defense from her command center, using information provided by the defecting alien species to predict every Concord move. "They still think size wins wars," she told her officers. They never learned that strategy beats strength. By the battle's end, 30% of the Concord fleet was destroyed. Another 40% was disabled. The remaining ships retreated in disarray, their formation broken, their confidence shattered. The tiny army had turned the tide. Humanity, against all odds, had won. Retreat, the peace conference convened on neutral territory, a space station hastily constructed between Earth and lunar orbit. Admiral Tak, now humbled, faced Colonel Sunwoo across the negotiation table. "Your tiny army has accomplished what no species has done in 10,000 years, he acknowledged. "You've earned your place among the stars." The treaty recognized Earth as a sovereign power and established new protocols for interspecies relations. Within months, 7 formerly subjugated species had requested human military advisors, impressed by Earth's innovative defense strategies. Captain Kim, now General Kim, oversaw the new Interstellar Defense Academy, where both humans and aliens trained together. "Size is just one factor in warfare," he explained to his first class of mixed-species cadets. "Adaptability, creativity, and cooperation matter far more." The term "tiny army" remained, transformed from an insult into a proud moniker that represented humanity's unique place in the galaxy. Earth's military forces, still a fraction the size of other galactic powers, became renowned for their effectiveness and ingenuity. As humanity ventured further into the stars, they carried with them the lesson they had taught the galaxy. Never underestimate a species based on its appearance or apparent limitations. Sometimes, the smallest forces harbor the greatest strength. The space station hung between Earth and the Moon like a shining jewel. Inside, humans and aliens sat across from each other at a large round table. The room was quiet enough to hear the soft hum of life support systems. Admiral Tak no longer looked like the proud conqueror who had first entered Earth's orbit. His normally bright skin had dulled, and his posture showed defeat. Across from him sat Colonel Sunwoo, her face calm but alert. "I admit I underestimated your species," Tak said, his translator making his words sound flat and emotionless. "The tiny army has done what no one else could in 10,000 years." Sunwoo nodded. "We fought to protect our home. But we're ready for peace if your terms are fair." The treaty took 3 days to complete. Earth would remain free and independent. The Concord would recognize humans as equals, not subjects. Trade routes would open, and technology would be shared. "There is one more thing," Sunwoo added on the final day. "All species currently under Concord control must be given the choice to remain or leave." Tak hesitated, then nodded slowly. "Agreed. The Concord will evolve." When the treaty was signed, cheers erupted across Earth. For the first time, humanity stood united as a single force in the galaxy. The war that could have destroyed them had instead made them stronger. Within months, 7 alien species, former slaves of the Concord, requested human help to build their own defense forces. The Lyric, with their advanced technology but little understanding of strategy. The Vanthi, physically strong but lacking coordination. The small but clever Galzi, who had mechanical skills that amazed even human engineers. Captain Kim, now promoted to general, stood before an unusual sight: the first class of the Interstellar Defense Academy. In the large training hall, humans taught side by side with aliens from 12 different worlds. "The Concord believed size determined victory," Kim told the mixed group of cadets. "That's why they laughed at our tiny army. But throughout history, size has rarely decided the outcome of conflicts." He pointed to a human instructor showing a group of four-armed lyric how to use terrain for cover. Adaptability matters more. Then to Avanthi teaching humans how to maximize their physical strength, as does cooperation. Finally, to a group working on a new weapon design, and creativity most of all. The Academy became famous across the galaxy. Each graduating class returned to their worlds with new skills and ideas. Earth's approach to warfare, flexible, innovative, and focused on quality over quantity, spread throughout the stars. 1 year after the peace treaty, Admiral Tak visited Earth. He walked with Colonel Sunwoo through a park in Seoul, watching children play. "I still don't understand," he said, "why you didn't destroy our fleet when you had the chance. Your team planted devices on our ships that could have killed us all." Sunwoo smiled. "Because we wanted peace, not extinction. Humans fight hardest when threatened, but we prefer not to fight at all." The phrase "tiny army" spread across the galaxy, but its meaning changed completely. What began as a Concord insult became a symbol of respect. Military forces everywhere began adopting human strategies and tactics. 5 years after first contact, humans had ships exploring distant stars. They established trading posts and diplomatic missions. Former enemies became allies and partners. General Kim, now head of Earth's defense forces, often told new recruits the story of the invasion. "They came expecting an easy victory," he would say. "They found instead that size isn't everything. Heart matters more than numbers. Will matters more than weapons." As humanity spread through the galaxy, they carried this lesson with them. Never judge by appearances. The smallest dog may have the loudest bark. The smallest army may have the greatest courage. And sometimes, a species from a small blue planet can change the course of galactic history. The end.